Hey everyone, I'm a software engineer. I've been working in the industry for the last 8 years doing full stack development. So that means working on websites on the front end, servers on the back end, and using AWS largely for infrastructure. Recently, I've been streaming to document my game development learning journey using specifically the Godot open source game engine. Sorry, I'm realizing, I don't know, I might be kind of loud. I'm going to move the mic a teeny bit. Anyway, the way I start off these streams, as it's gone so far, is that I show off what I've been working on. I've essentially built myself a little playground to test out different features, different mechanics, things I might want to add to a game in the future. This is not meant to be a full-fledged game. It's not meant to turn into anything more than just me streaming and learning more about Godot. At some point, I'll probably sit down, come up with a game idea, and start building it. Probably will do that on stream because I found that this is a really good medium to share what I'm working on, but also keep me accountable for learning more and doing more around game development. But as I do in every stream, let's get started by walking you through all of the things that I've built for this playground that I've built so far. So we start with the main menu. You can continue your game, start a new game, or load a game. There are different save files, which I will get into today because I actually think some of what I'm going to be working on today is integrating some of the newer systems that I've built recently into the save system, which I haven't touched in quite a while actually. So let's go ahead and start a new game. As you can see, we are placed in a top-down view, and the player is controlled by mouse and keyboard, so I can move around, and the player faces the direction that my mouse is facing. I've built an inventory system for the player. It doesn't look beautiful, but it functionally you can drag and drop things and stack things, which I'll get to in just a second. You can equip weapons, so I've built a weapon system. So right now the only two weapons that exist are a rifle and a sword, and there's rifle ammo. The main premise of the game is that you can only see your enemies, which in this case are only zombies, when your flashlight is on. So if I press F, flashlight turns on, and sure enough, we can see a zombie here. Within a certain distance, they'll start following you. And in my last stream, I added this UI element here, which is basically meant to simulate the closest zombie to you and essentially how far away they are. It's meant to be halfway between the zombie and the player. Right now, there's no sound in the game. Eventually, I think there would be, more of a sound element to this. So this UI element might get removed. If you move far enough away, that trigger goes away and the zombie stops following you as well. I built a weapon delay system recently. So when you shoot, you can see this green rectangle square here turns red. So you can't just spam shooting. You can shoot the zombies and they fall over. There's a dual inventory system, so you can drag and drop things between inventories. You can also stack items like I was alluding to. And then, stack your rifle ammo so you have more of it to use later. And I also recently added sword knockback. So if we go and find a zombie somewhere around here, you can see that when I hit the zombie with a sword, there's a little bit of knockback and they get pushed back. On top of all of this, I've built a save system, like I mentioned, which is part of what we're going to be working on today. Just adding more features to that, more game systems that I've built some more things out. And I've built a chunking system as well. So the playground is kind of meant to be a open world type of thing. There's no limits or bounds to the edges of the world. So if I zoom out here and I move left and right and up and down, you'll see that some chunks load in, some chunks load out, and you can't see it because debug values aren't on, but the zombies get saved into those chunks and reload when the chunk is loaded back in. So yeah, that's everything at a high level of what I've built in my game development journey so far. And I think today we're going to focus on the inventory system, the save system, getting the inventory system plugged into that, as well as some of the newer player updates that I've made. And I think same needs to apply to the zombies. Their inventories need to be saved as well. The way I'm kind of doing that at a high level is each chunk is a different like config file. And so for anything related to the chunk, so any zombies, items, vegetation, whatever it is that I add in the future, those should all get saved to a particular chunk when the game is saved. And then I have a player file which saves all of the relevant player info. If anyone's on the stream right now, I don't know if anyone is, can you tell me if my mic and music volumes are okay? I'm realizing it might be a little loud, and I also don't think anyone's watching, so I might have to go check this out myself. Just gonna sound weird for a sec, but we're gonna do it anyway. Music volumes are okay. I'm realizing it might be a little loud, and I also don't think anyone's watching, so I might have to go check this out myself. Just gonna sound weird for a sec, but this does sound weird. We're gonna do it anyway. But I think audio is actually fine. I have the mic a little bit further away from my mouth, so I'm just hoping that it doesn't. There are fewer plosives, and you know, it doesn't have to be right in front of my face as I'm working here. All right, let's get started. So I honestly can't remember if I have... Okay, I have a save manager, which handles saving player data, deleting saves, getting the list of the save files for the load menu, loading metadata, so pulling the config file related to that save and loading it in. Actually, this is returning the just play through information, save game metadata. So that's the save for this function essentially. Creating save paths, so creating directories if those don't exist. Getting paths for the player, for the chunks. So I was handling the save. Now this gets called from, I have a, just in doing, you know, I wasn't originally thinking that this playground was going to have a chunking system or even be like quote unquote open world. But I wanted to implement a chunking system. And so I started a new kind of main scene for that. And that's just called chunk testing. But it is kind of the main scene for the entire game playground at the moment. So chunk testing connects to chunk manager. Whenever chunks are updated, we get an array of new chunks. Oh, okay. So let's see. So, okay, we handle save here. Do we do it elsewhere? In the pause menu, okay. Okay, so handle save seems to be the main point of entry we have here. So we create save paths if they don't exist. We save chunks, we save player data, and then we save game metadata. Now, save chunks is where we're gonna have to do some updating, save player data as well. And I might have to restructure how we do saving, because right now I'm not loving, like if we go to player here and we find some information, yeah, these save constants, I'm basically creating these constants as names for different pieces of data. And I think in actuality, let me go to, let's see, get player data for save. Where's this used? Is this not used? Doesn't look like that's used anywhere, which is strange. Okay, save player data. Oh, this is even in save manager. Interesting. Okay. Oh no, it is used here. But for some reason, for whatever reason, Maybe because this isn't typed like that. Whoa. It's weird. Nope, still doesn't. Whatever, that's fine. Okay, so what we're essentially doing is getting the we have a dictionary that we're returning that has these keys, and then those just get saved into a config file. Now, I don't love dictionaries in GD script because they don't have strong typing. And so I'm wondering if I should create a node that has all of these variables as actual, top level nodes, or items on that node. And then we use that rather than it being on top of the player. So what I kind of mean by that is we're doing all of the save stuff within the player, which I don't think is the right spot. So let's create a new folder, and we'll call it Save System. So we have Save Manager here, which I'll move into Save System. This is probably going to break stuff. It might even break autoload unless it automatically moves it. Okay, so I think that should actually be fine. So we've got the Save Manager. Let's create a new script called player save. And we'll open this up. Class name, player save. So essentially what I'm talking about here is instead of having a dictionary of these values, because as we go to save here, let me pull up Save Manager one more time. As we go to save player data, we are creating a new config file and just setting the value of this name to, oh, right. It's kind of a 3-element thing. There's like a section, there's a key within that section, and then the data itself. Oops. I'm just trying to think if there's not a better way to do that. So essentially what I'm thinking on the player side of things here, so we have these save constants. At the very least, let's decouple this from the player itself, because it's not, there's no reason for it to be on the player. So we also need to update some of the actual values here. I'll do some updating, but I just kind of want to move all of the save functionality off of the player. Does this need to mean it needs to be a global, like an auto-loaded file? I don't think it should, because I think what we want to be able to do is init this file and then get back all of the relevant player save information, as well as provide a function to save player data. So we'll want to do some stuff in init to like grab all of the save data if it exists and load it into some variables here. So for example, we'll want the player position, which we'll call a vector2. We'll want the player inventory, which will be of type inventory. So we'll want to like grab the relevant information and then populate the inventory with that. What else? I guess we can start here and then we will go from there. So we're doing the actual save in Save Manager, which we also don't want to do. We will when we go to save player data, we'll actually pass in the player, so we don't have to grab it from the game manager. So we'll say if player equals null or not player is player or isn't of player type. Okay, so when we go to save player data, we want to say self dot player position equals player dot global position, and self dot player inventory equals player dot inventory. And then we'll need ways to save. So really, we'll also need a inventory save node as well, which will then be handled here by calling handle inventory save. So it's going to be a bit of a tangled web for a bit, but we'll get there. So inventory save, and this will be a generic save for any inventory, including non-player characters. So I'm just thinking all of the player information will have its own config file, but we don't necessarily want to have a separate config file for every NPC. We could, but in a lot of cases, we'll just want that information to be stored in the chunk, because that's how we're loading NPC information at the moment, is through which chunk it's been saved into. So we won't necessarily want to hard code inventory saving to a specific file. We probably just want to get the values themselves. Okay, so we want a function that handles saving an inventory, and we'll get to what this passes in a bit. We want a function to populate inventory, which takes a save file and returns an inventory. Let me see currently how I'm saving zombie information. I don't know if that's in chunk manager. So save chunks. Handle saving chunk. So we get zombie data from, okay, so if so we're just storing the ID and global position for a zombie. And then we're saving that to the chunk save path. And this should not probably, maybe it should overwrite the file. Okay, hold on. Let's look at the documentation for config file, because I think it's more powerful than I'm even realizing. Okay, let's go to the web. Store variant values on the file system using any style formatting. The stored values are identified by a section and a key. Save to or parsed from a file, though config file objects can also be used directly without accessing the file system. The following example shows how to create a simple config file and save it on disk. So that's what we're doing, essentially. Any operation that mutates the config file, such as set, clear, or erase section, only changes what is loaded in memory. If you want to write the change to a file, you have to save the changes with save encrypted, or save encrypted pass. Keep in mind that section and property names can't contain spaces. Config files can also contain manually written comment lines. All right, so function-wise, okay, it doesn't say anything about editing these config files. Okay, so it seems like what should happen if you are going to overwrite data or change data is you load the save file, you change whatever pieces of data you need to, and then you just save it again. So I'm trying to think if I want to just thinking about where I should be storing the like the NPC save information, if those should be their own files. Because I'm just thinking I don't know how they probably should be. At least I can start with that implementation, and then if I need to handle it differently, I can. But I think that should work. So for save inventory, we want to pass in an inventory and also pass in we probably want to pass in the config file itself. Because that way we can just write directly to that config file instead of needing to manage like loading a config, updating it, and then saving it again. So we can make inventory section. Just call it inventory section. Inventory slot prefix can just be slot underscore, and then I think we'll just iterate through the list there. Should be fine, and then we'll have weapon inventory weapon inventory weapon, I guess. We'll call it equipped weapon, and then weapon inventory ammo, equipped ammo. So we will make the inventory object. Let me make sure. Let's see. So it's just config file dot set value. So actually, I don't even think we need to do that. We can say for key of or in inventory dot keys. Nope, that's what is this called? Items. Item type item equals inventory dot items key So this can be, let's actually do .get key, because that means it'll be an item or null, and null is fine. So we'll say config file dot set value. Section is inventory section. The name is right because it's the key name. I guess it can just be key. Because that should be easy enough to just load back in. So key and then item. And then we'll say, on top of that, config file dot set value of also inventory section, and we'll say weapon inventory weapon. Hey Leo, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I've had a busy last few days, but I streamed yesterday for a little bit and streamed on Saturday and had a good time. And now I'm here again today working on the save system. I've been neglecting it, been building up features, and now I just want to get the whole save system working so that I kind of have a standard for that moving forward. But it's definitely a little less glamorous than other things I've been working on. How have you been doing? So we'll say inventory dot weapon inventory dot equipped weapon. Then we'll do the same for ammo. Actually, wait, I'm realizing that's wait a second. Can you store maybe the config file is way more expandable than, can you store nodes in config files? Node in config file. Because if I can, that makes things a lot easier. You doing okay? What have you been up to lately? Can I use... Oh, data types are preserved even if it's an object. Wow. Does that mean I could just... No. Just updating the Aluri chat and Aluri programming studio. Nice. Nice, nice. So wait, can you? Okay, so here it's just... Here it's just saving individual values, not objects. So file access. That's not what I want. Using resources. Also not what I want. Wait, resource saver. What is that? Don't think that's what I want. I guess there's only one way to find out if you can save nodes. Let's actually return the config file from this function. Return config file. So if we want to populate the inventory, we can say inventory equals inventory.new. I don't think we need to pass anything to that, no. Then we'll say we'll need a config file as well. And then when we get data, I need to be reminded how to do that. So it's just get value with the same format. I think there's maybe a default. Yeah, default is null, so that's fine. Get value. There were some other functions here. Hold on. Whoops. Also remembering I was gonna flip it so that the code was a little better seen in the stream here. Let's go back to config file docs here. Get section keys, get sections. Okay, so we can use has section and has section key. So we will say if not config file dot has section inventory section. Actually, we will assert this, so we will get a failure otherwise. So we'll say assert config file dot has section inventory section. When loading inventory from save, there must be a section for the inventory. So we'll say for, let's see, oops. Get section keys, get sections, get value. But we don't know what the key is. Is there a oh yeah, get section keys. Okay. Or key in config file dot get section keys for inventory section. Whoops, stop the music there. And now we'll play again. Oh, I must have started the song over or something. But not all of those keys are what we want. So maybe we want a different section for the weapon inventory I guess is fine. So weapon inventory section. Here we'll say weapon inventory section. Okay, so now all of the keys that are in the inventory section should align with what's in the inventory. So we can say inventory dot add item to slot. Yeah, let's see, what do I pass in here first? The item and then the key. So we pass in config file dot get value inventory section, I believe key, if I'm not mistaken. And we won't worry about a default. Pass in key. So that should load all of the regular inventory. And then we'll get the equipped. We'll say actually, okay, when we create the inventory here, we automatically create the weapon inventory. So we should just be able to set equipped weapon and equipped ammo. So we'll say inventory dot weapon inventory dot equipped weapon equals actually we also want to assert that weapon inventory exists. Inventory section, when loading inventory from save, there must be a section for the weapon inventory. So we know that exists, so we can say config file dot get value weapon inventory section weapon inventory weapon, and we don't need a default. Then we'll do the same here for ammo. Okay. And I think that's it. So we can return our inventory here. So we've loaded in our inventory. And we have a way to save our inventory. So now in player here, let's also update these functions to be save player and populate player. Wait, what is this doing? Save player data. Okay, so this actually, we don't want that anymore. So this will be save player, and so we need to do everything in here. And we'll have yeah, I think we can just say populate player. We'll pass in a config file. We'll also pass in a config file here. We'll return a player. So var player type player equals player dot new, I guess. What's going on here? What are you yelling about? I apparently have a weird indent somewhere that's throwing this off. Expected opening. Ah, oh wait, no. Okay, I got. Okay, what's going on? Is this not an underscore? Oh, that must have been, what was that? Was it just a space? Oh, it must have been a space. Okay, that's why. Weird. But, okay, so we'll have a way to populate the player. So populate basic player info, populate inventory, and then we'll return the player. And this can be used when initializing the game. And so whatever's initializing the game will pass in the config file for the player. So player data.keys. So we don't want this anymore. So let's ignore all of this stuff because it's not really relevant anymore. And okay. So player position can be player position. We're handling the inventory elsewhere. Yeah, so I guess our NPCs, is it weird for them all to have different, might be weird for them all to have different save files, but anyway, come back to that later. Okay, so we don't have player data.keys anymore. We're just saving this player position and the player inventory. Really, I don't actually even think we need this stuff. Because we can say inventory save equals inventory save dot new, and then we'll say inventory save dot save inventory, passing in the player dot inventory and the config file. So that should handle the inventory save. And then all we need to save outside of that for now is the player's position. So we can say config file dot set value, player section, so we'll set the value at the player section, player position, and then player dot global position. And then get player save path. How are we? Get player save path. It's in save manager, so it's the playthrough save path plus the player save file name. I guess it's fine for the save manager to handle that for now. I assume we have, yeah, self.save player data. So really this should be creating the config file, passing it into the player save manager, and then, yeah. Okay, so this should now be player save. Equals player save dot new. We will oh, actually, hold on. Oh, I guess it's, oops. Okay, so do we need to load in the, yeah, we might want to load this file, actually. Christogen, as someone new to game development, I'm eager to learn about the best strategies for monetizing games. What are the most effective methods to generate revenue, such as incorporating ads? I'm probably not going to be the best person to answer that. I'm still relatively early on in the game dev journey, and haven't released myself a full game. As a consumer, I prefer a single flat purchase price. Free to play games, are fine as long as they don't have pay to win tactics, in my opinion. But I would much rather pay a single price and then have the game forever than go free to play and have to purchase things after the fact. That would be my strategy, but again, I'm by no means a expert in this field. Okay, you're yelling because... Oh, okay. So let's load the player save file if it exists. So it's basically I don't think we care if there's an error loading it, as long as it doesn't error if it failed. So I think it should be fine if I just do config file.load self.get save player save path. Yeah, no problem, Christogen. No problem. Wow, I've already been streaming for almost an hour. That went by really fast. I don't feel like I've gotten anything done. But that's not true. I've gotten some stuff done. All right, so we'll say player save dot save player. Wait, is this not? Yeah, save player. Why are you yelling? Oh, because that function doesn't exist. So we actually want to return config file here. And we will say, where was that? Save manager. We'll say config file equals player save.save player. And we'll pass in the player, which I think we access here with game manager.player, and then pass in config file, and then we will save it. Okay. And then on load here, let's see. I think we can we'll have a function called populate player as well, which I don't think needs to take anything in, but it will return a player. From here, we can grab all of this. So load the player's config file, then return player save.populate player, passing in the config file. I think that should work. So theoretically, we can instead say saved player equals save manager dot populate player. And instead of doing all of this, we can say self.global position equals saved player dot global position, and we will say we can delete all of this and this, and honestly this too. Self.global position, self.inventory, and equals saved player.inventory. I think that's it. So we will get probably a failure if we try to run the game. Oh, we haven't even implemented this yet. Okay, we need to do that real quick. So we'll say player.inventory equals, and we actually need to do oh yeah, basically the same thing here. Inventory save, so player inventory equals inventory save dot populate inventory, passing in the correct config file. And then the basic player info is just loading the so player.global position equals config file dot get value, and the default will just be vector 2.0. Although actually maybe we'll assert that config file dot get value player section player position does not equal null. Saved player position cannot be null. Great, so we'll get the global position, get the inventory, return the player. So now we should be able to, this should load properly. And I think I need to delete then every save file because it's not gonna load properly now. Okay, let's go into save manager. So we have handle save, which saves player data. We'll get to the zombies and saving chunks in a little bit. Hey Chase, I'm just running off a MacBook Pro, an M1 MacBook Pro, 14-inch. I have a bigger like gaming PC rig, but I do all of my coding on Mac. Okay, so I think we are at a place where we can test. It's probably gonna break, and I do actually need to delete all of the saves because things are not backwards compatible now. So this will just take a moment. I know there's a folder somewhere in my file system where all of this is saved, but I don't remember exactly where that is. Got a lot of saves in here. I should probably also, anytime I'm updating the save system, there will need to be version bumps because they'll be not backwards compatible. At some point I might be able to build a system where there are backwards compatible saves, but that's for the future. Okay, so we don't have any more save files and the continue button goes away. That's a feature actually I haven't shown off yet. So let's start a new game and we got a crash. Save player position cannot be null. Okay, so that makes sense when we're loading a game for the first time. It will be null. So in player save, so I want there to be I want when we load a game for this to be checked, but not when we're just starting a new game. I guess for now, let's remove this assertion, have the default state be vector 2.0, and we'll add a to-do. Eventually, we should assert here when loading a game. But for now, that's fine. So let's start a new game. Saved player position. Oops. It's this weird Godot bug again, where it overwrites my files. Okay, when loading inventory from save, there must be a section for the inventory. Okay, so we're not loading from save. That's the key difference here. So we do actually need to handle this. So populate inventory. Config file that has section. I mean, I guess when I'm starting a game, I could just... No. So maybe we don't want these assertions here. Gonna comment them out for the moment and come back to it later to add these assertions back once we figure out how to differentiate between load and new game. Let's close this, start it up again. Okay, trying to assign value of type stackable inventory item to a variable of type item. So an inventory save. Okay, so this is a stackable inventory item, not an item. Why are we saving the inventory already? We save immediately on game start. Okay, that's not a big deal. But maybe we here say item stackable inventory item equals config file dot get value inventory section key. If item is not null and we want to assert that item. Basically, if the item is not null, it's not equal null, and item and not item is stackable inventory item. Inventory items must be stackable inventory item. And then we can just say add item to slot. Hey 5X, how's it going? I'm just working on building out a save system for my player and inventory, and we'll do so for zombie inventory as well. I have some of a save system, but I'm trying to rebuild it. Yeah, what are you rendering? Like for a game or other front end type stuff? Okay, let's give this a try now. So I've removed the assertions that... Okay, that actually worked. So this got populated just from... Okay, so let's save. That didn't seem to break anything. For now, just voxels, and you want to improve performance using instancing, but your end goal is a 40 perspective camera. What's a 40 perspective camera? Can't say I know what that would look like. Like, do you have an example that you could point to? Okay, let's try loading this save file. Okay, trying to assign value of type node to a variable of type stackable inventory item. Interesting. So maybe, okay, so they're nodes. So maybe we can assert that it's the stackable inventory item type, or maybe we need to do something else. Or maybe the approach of storing the nodes won't work. Okay, invalid type and function add item to slot and base node invert. The object derived class of argument 1 node is not a subclass of the expected argument type. Okay, let's print out what item is here. No, because most 4D games you see take the approach of taking a slice of the 4D world, but my end goal is to generalize 3D rendering into 4D. In other words, stuff farther away in 4D will show up as smaller 3D objects, similar to how 3D perspective rendering works. Cool. I can't say I fully understand, but I'm excited to see what you're doing when you build it. Yeah, anytime I think of 4D, I just think of like, you know, when people say like 4D chess, just, you know, several steps ahead of someone else kind of thing. But I'd be very interested to see that done through rendering. Okay, so let's print out the item. If item does not equal null, let's print item dot get item name. Let's give this a try. You said you need 3D monitor to see 4D scene. That sounds cool. Yeah, again, super excited to see what that looks like. It sounds super interesting. All right, so let's print out some stuff here, see if we can get a better understanding of what's happening. So output node. What is this? Item set 1. Stackable inventory item set 1 and 10. Am I printing something out here? In theory, a real 4D entity would see the entire 3D result at once. You'll just have another 3D fly cam that's independent of the 4D cam. Cool. Will it kind of look like, I don't know if you've seen Inception, but the like black hole scene at the end when he's like flying through all of the different variations of, or like the, you know, basically going through time on the 3D objects of his daughter's room. Maybe that doesn't make any sense, but there's a scene at the end of not Inception, goodness, Interstellar. Yeah, there's a scene at the end of Interstellar where they try to show like 4D, what 4D would look like to us if we were able to see that in a 3D world. I'm sure I'm not making any sense. Okay, so item is null. So let's... Well, good luck with it. I think if you can make it work, it should look cool. Okay, config file, inventory key. What is this item? Path orphan. Oh, non-existent function get item in base node. What's being saved here? That 4D game should predict all 3D gamer choices. Yeah. Yeah, you should be able to see everything that's happening and move around through the story. That'd be kind of interesting, actually. Also, hey, DDD. Should I call you DDD or 3D? Or D3? Or D cubed? What's your preference? Okay, non-existent function get. What is the node that's being returned here? Am I saving it properly? So when I save the inventory, setting value, the item is a stackable inventory item. But maybe that's not. Returns the current value for the specified section key. If either the section or the key do not exist, the method returns the fallback param default. DDD is fine. Okay, sounds good. All right, so I'm fundamentally misunderstanding config files, I think. Like in normal 4D games with slice-based rendering, if you had a 3D cube and move it away in 4D space, it would just instantly vanish, but with a perspective camera, it would actually just grow smaller, similar to how moving a square away from you in real life works. Gotcha. Sort of. I'm doing my best to understand. I think I know what you mean. Code to text. Getting the text version of this config file. No, that's not what I want. Fact string array variant. Can variant be the most important data type of Godot? Computer programming variant class is a class that is designed to store a variety of other types. Dynamic programming languages like JavaScript and JavaScript like to use them to store variables data on the back end. These variants properties are able to value types freely. Godot for config file. Load packed scene. Load class, I guess. Best way to load config files. Or can you store entire nodes in config file? Oh, is that no? Godot's config file objects cannot store entire nodes. Okay. That's too bad. Okay, so I think that means I need to store a lot more information. Behold a function to save an entire scene, all its nodes and all the variables, and load it again exactly what was using pack. I'm struggling with how to create a save and load function for my game that can be used in the middle of a run, since it's a randomized roguelite with a bunch of different player-defined variations and an unlimited number of possibilities that could be assembled. Here's what they landed on. You think there can be a node with custom state that can be stored? Yeah, I mean, I was just hoping that with config files I could save a node and then load it, but I think I have to have a more like explicit approach. So what is save object nodes? Oh, does this literally just like save the entire... Hmm. Well, node itself can serialize its own data. Yeah, I'm just so in save inventory, for example, I have a stackable inventory item, which is a has two values basically, an item and an amount. Yeah, I was just hoping that I could set that stackable inventory item within the config file. Actually, now that I come to think about it, let me find the actual config file. I'm curious what it looks like. Go for where are config files stored? On Mac. I just forget the... Okay, user data, so library application support, Godot. Oops. So, let's see, library application support, Godot. Don't see that. Maybe it's under Godot's. Let's see, show package contents, resources. No, Mac OS, code signature. Where is this stored? Where does Godot save files? Oh, it's in the project folder? No, it's not in the project folder. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm just looking for the folder where like the user stuff is stored. Home, doc, Godot. Hey, Elf Bidejet Sheriffy, if that's how you pronounce your name. How's it going? I might just call you Elf. I'm working on a save system for my Godot project and kind of struggling with some of the concepts of config files. I'm also trying to figure out where saves are actually stored on Mac. I don't understand why this is so hard to find. Okay, let's see if ChatGPT knows. Godot 4, where are Godot config files stored on Mac? I think, I mean, it totally depends on the application. Like you could store it in any way. For Godot, they store them as their own version of like .cfg files, but there's no standard for that particular type of file. So it it can be anything really. That folder doesn't exist for me for some reason. Which is annoying. Is there like a, let's see if there's a setting in here for that. Project settings, config. Use hidden project data. What is this? If true, the project will save user data to its own user directory. If application/config is empty. Okay, so maybe actually we want that to be on. And we'll say save files. Let's try this again. Okay, so I think we're basically creating a new, is there a new folder in here called save files? Docs, it's a runtime config file. Docs say it's just like any file, plain text. Yeah, no, but you can save it to disk as well, which is what I'm doing. I have no idea where it's actually saving it to disk, and so that's what I'm trying to figure out. So custom user directory name, did that just save to like way up the chain? No. I don't understand where this is. Project settings, use custom user directory. Let's turn that off. Use hidden project data. If true, the project will use a hidden directory.godot for storing project specific data. If false, changes for can have on platforms with third-party tools where hidden directories are disallowed. Okay, I don't think I want that to be on. Let's save and restart. Yeah, I have checked the runtime folder. It's not there. I found it like months ago when I was messing around with some of this stuff, but now I can't remember where it exists. Yeah, the runtime folder doesn't have anything, unfortunately. Okay, so if I did custom, okay. This user directory is used for storing persistent data. Hold on. Oh, okay. All right. So now we have a Godot folder. So let's open this up. Okay, so there's now a Godot folder. Does it have... No, this just has project metadata in it, which we don't care about. I'm not understanding why this is so hard to find. But let's go back now and overwrite this, because I don't think either of those are things we... Actually, I may have... Okay, let's just try this again and actually save and restart. Sorry, everyone. This is kind of annoying. I wish it were simpler. Okay, so let's boot up the game. There should be... Oh no, there is. Start a new game. Let's add a couple things to our inventory. Not that it really matters. That's a bug that needs to be fixed. Let's hit save, exit. Is there anything here? No. I think we can get rid of this folder. We're not using it anymore. I don't think, at least. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know where this is being saved. Okay. Home.Godot app user data. Okay. So here we'll go .Godot. That file doesn't exist. Where are Godot save files stored? Mac. Yeah, it's not saved by default, but I am I know that something's being saved because if I go back into the game here and I click load, we find a save file here. Actually, which reminds me, I can just do... Okay, let's get the create save paths. We can actually just print out where this is getting saved to. So print save path. Okay, so I think this should give us the information we need. We start a new game, hit save, exit, save path. No, that is unhelpful. Where is this user? This is hilarious. Yeah, to store persistent files, you can use user prefix. But where? Okay, app user data path is local share Godot app user data name. Okay. cd dot local. Okay. Share. Oops. Godot. That doesn't exist. Okay, why doesn't that exist? Yeah, but if I go home, that's just here. And I don't think there's a .Godot file in here. There's not. So I just don't get where it's getting stored. What's in .config? Yeah, I don't get it. It's got to be stored somewhere, but this is crazy. Okay, Mac. default library application support Godot. This folder doesn't exist in my application support. So that's what's confusing me. Project name? Maybe it's under application support project name. I don't know why, but it could be. Do I have something called survival game? No, I don't. I'm sorry you guys are having to deal with this, but I mean, I need to figure this out so I can like manage the save files a little bit better and see what's going on. This is crazy. I'd found it previously. I'm just not understanding why this folder doesn't exist. Library application support Godot. Okay. CD / library application support Godot. It just doesn't exist. And yet this stuff is getting saved somewhere. User prefix points to a different directory on the user's device. Unlike res, the directory pointed at by user is created automatically and guaranteed to be writable to even in an exported project. The location of user folder depends on what is configured in the project settings. By default, the user folder is created within Godot's editor data path in the app user data project name folder. This is the default so that prototypes and test projects stay self-contained within Godot's data folder. Application config use custom user directories enabled in the project settings. The user folder is created next to Godot's editor data path. In other words, in the standard location for applications data. By default, the folder name will be inferred from the project name, but it can be further customized with application config custom user directory name. Path can contain path separators. I'm tempted to just move everything to this and not use user at all. So I cannot for the life of me figure out where this is going. So what was it? It was config. Okay, application config use custom user directory. True, the project will save user data to its own user directory if application is empty. OS user data. What is OS user data directory? Where are save files? Yes, but I want to look at the actual file. For macOS, where are the save files? So library, there's no like saves or... I'm just running through the folder right now to see. Not seeing anything. What about application support? Is there a survival game? Saves folder? Godot? Okay, application support. There's no like Godot file here. This is wild. Oh my god. Why is there no library application support Godot folder for me? This is wild. Godot 4 Mac, no application support folder. Maybe there's some setting that I changed here. Related to config, perhaps? That looks good. Like path. User logs Godot. There are also logs and shader cache. Yeah, I'm just not, I don't know where this user folder is. It's crazy making. Okay, if I turn this on and do something like /dev survival game, I think is the folder, /Godot. Actually, we can just do /saves. Let's try that. If we boot up the game, should be, yeah, okay, so it's a new place. Let's hit save and exit. just do search by project name. I don't think Mac's search works like that, unfortunately. Oh, actually, can I use search files? No. Might be on the right track here, but this. Don't think that is. No. Oh, this is super frustrating. Sorry, guys. Godot can't find Mac save folder. Oh my god, can I do this? Wait, if this works, I'm going to be so happy. os.get user data directory. Please work. Please work. What is this? Hey Lala. It's going. It's going. I've been trying to find the, what is this URL? That is crazy. It's going. I'm trying to figure out where my saves are going, because they seem to, like, I can't figure out where they're being saved on Mac. So it's been a bit of a journey here for the last little bit. It's not okay. So I guess then if I just do this, theoretically, if I save, so it claims to be users, my name, application support, or sorry, library. Why does library not show up for me? What is, wait, what? Users, me. Why is library not showing up? This is super annoying. Okay. I guess I have to go here manually. Library. Oh, it's in my iCloud drive. Are you serious? That's where it is? That's why. That's wild. Okay. I think that was a like weird iCloud drive thing, which is annoying. Okay, saves. We've got the version. We've got the save. We have player config. Okay, finally. I'm gonna open this up with. All right, let's see what this looks like. So it's object is a node. Okay, the resource. So we got stackable inventory item type, sound range. Okay, so it's actually storing all of this information, which is cool, but it's storing as object of type node. So when I'm loading it back in, there's probably something I have to do to convert it to its proper resource type. Script. Okay, so the rifle. So node dot. Okay, how to Godot for how to convert config node to resource. Config file, resource path into a resource file. That's what resource loader is for. Resource loader. Singleton for loading resource files. The singleton can use to load resource files from the file system. It's not really what I'm looking for, I don't think. Okay, so let's just go into code here and try to... Oh, I'm glad I was able to find that. That was crazy making. Okay, so as we're populating the inventory, this item is a node, is like a are there like can we print out like item.keys? Non-existent function keys in base node. I just don't know what the values are here. So maybe actually I can try printing out like oh, item. So what is, oh, maybe it's node.item. Or is it is there amount here? There is. So what if I print out item.item or item.amount. Let's see what this says. So, oh wait, what was the error? Populate player. Okay, it seems like maybe that item doesn't exist. I just don't know how to convert this to a resource that I can actually interact with. Invalid index item on base node. I assume no one watching knows how to do that either. If you do, please speak up. Go for convert config node to type. Godot for load node from config. Let's go back to the config file docs. Because I don't see any examples here of actually storing anything but like base values. But it sounds like you can store anything. Like variant can be anything. To or parse from a file, the config file objects can also be used directly without accessing the file system. Yeah, but I can't even access the members from the node that I'm saving. Like all the data is there. Like it's being stored as this object. But then when I go to like if I print it out, all I can see is just that it's a node. I don't know what the values are on this. If that makes any sense. Like if I print it out in the output here, it just says it's a node, but like, is it, how do I convert that back into the, in this case, stackable inventory item? Because like all the information is here. We know that it's a stackable inventory item. Hey Shripad, how's it going? We know it's a stackable inventory item. We know what kind of item it is. We have the amount that is stored in that stackable inventory item, as well as all the information about the particular, in this case, weapon. We have the ammo here. We have the sword. And we have, player position is obviously easy to access, though I'm realizing this may also be an issue. I just don't want to have to store the like individual details about it, but like the individual properties, because that's, you know, there's like so much information there that needs to be individually manually stored, and that feels like a waste. It feels like I should just be able to like grab all the information from here, but I don't know what fields I can access on Node. Hey Geometry, what kind of name is Klingle? It's part of my last name. And it's what I was called by a lot of my friends growing up. So it's yelling there. I'm just gonna have to try like saying like item it might. Let's find out. It seems like it does. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's an array? What? Maybe that's just how it prints out. But what is this garbage? Actually, what does that function do in general? What is it? How does it print things out? Returns the objects property list as an array. Oh, okay, an array of dictionaries. Each dictionary contains the following entries. Name is the property's name. As a string, class name is an empty string name. Type is the property's type. As an int. Hint is how the property is meant to be edited. Hint string depends on the hint. Usage is a combination of property usage flags. So let's see. I don't understand what multiplayer API is. Okay, process, physics process, name editor description. Is there anything here about usage name, owner class name, node? Can I access? You think I should rely on my actual class structure, not a serialized one? Yeah, it's just like so much extra code to write, which, you know, it's fine. If there was an easy way to do this. Oh wait, did import path print? Or did it not? Wait. Continue, quit out that. Output, import path, it's empty. So that at least exists. Okay, no, that makes sense. It's empty. Okay, at what point then does it, because item doesn't exist. Does script exist? I'm just wondering at what point does it like, why does an item exist? Okay, if item is not null, print item. Okay. Well, I'm about to just say, oh well, and I can't do it this way, which is really too bad because it's going to make things way more complicated than they need to be. Let me just think about this for a little bit longer though. Can I do? Can I try that? You said you think custom data that should be read better be stored in some owned properties. You can easily ignore internal node properties. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so it actually did allow me to, okay, so that's null. If I access it like that. So that's null. What about, script? Because what's weird is I feel like these should exist on the item unless they're getting converted. Oh, it's also null. What? Okay. All right. Whatever. I'll update this. Okay, if I'm not storing then the node itself, can I instead store a dictionary of values? So let's just try this real quick. We'll say amount is item.get amount. We'll say item is an array. Item is an array. You need first value. I don't think it's an array. I think it's an object. Like if I do, hold on, let me comment this out. if I did item sub, I don't know, 3, I think this is gonna error. Yeah, invalid get index 3 on base node. Like, you can't access it like an array. Item dot get item ID. So we'll need to create a. All right, let's just go ahead and give this a try. We'll need to create then a table with all our items that we. Oops, what happened? No, that's fine. So new non-existent function get item ID in base node. If item does not equal null, then we do all this stuff. Oops. Okay, new game. Is that really not? Oh, get item ID. Okay. Okay, let's save and let's look at what this looks like. Wait. What was this new save? I actually don't even know what it is. Oh, those didn't save for those ones. So must be this. Yes, it's this one. Open with Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I can do that. Which like, okay, that's fine. Can I instead do this, which is item, and then say item.getItem? What does this look like? Let's go ahead and just delete these. Let's give this a try. New game, save. No, it's still a stupid object thing. Dot get. So like, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to store the individual values there. All right. Apologies everyone for the last, like, I don't know, that was probably 45 minutes or something of trying to figure out some different save stuff. We didn't get anything fully finished today, but we're gonna have to expand out the inventory saving system and just store individual values and load things in that way. Because I don't know if it's possible to reload a node, even though all the information is there. I'm gonna have to dig into it and see if there's something else we can do. But I'm gonna hop off now. It's a good 2 hours and 15 minutes. I appreciate everyone that hopped on and chatted and hung out. And I should be on, if I'm not on tomorrow, I'll be on Thursday, but I think I should be on for at least a bit tomorrow.